Hey everyone, welcome. On this channel, we're going to get into an advanced look at the story Disastrous Necromancer. Come with me as we unravel the journey of Lin Moyu, from his beginnings to him becoming a force to be reckoned with in a mysterious new world. If this story sounds like something you'll enjoy, please like, share, and comment. Your support helps us keep providing these in-depth looks into the world of Disastrous Necromancer. Now let's continue.
Moments later, Lin Moyu opened his eyes. A hint of joy flashed in his eyes. The effect is good. He had just tried using the luck explosion technique to increase his own luck. He could clearly feel that his luck had almost doubled. Unfortunately, he couldn't detect his own luck, he could only roughly sense it. Lin Moyu felt that under the blessing of the luck explosion technique, his luck seemed to have broken through the limit and reached another level. The limit of luck is 100. If it breaks through 100, it can reach another level, which is referred to in the inheritance as luck like a dragon. Just now, he had reached this level, but unfortunately, it was only temporary and could only be maintained for a while. But it was enough. Although he hadn't tested the power of the luck explosion technique, just greatly increasing his luck was already a very strong ability. In certain special environments, it could produce unexpected effects. Lord Wu was surprised. You comprehended it in 30 days? Lin Moyu asked knowingly, is 30 days fast? Lord Wu snorted, of course it's fast. I've seen core disciples of the Cloud Mist sect take 50 years to grasp a bit of it. 30 days, 50 years, there's a big difference. Lin Moyu chuckled, maybe it's because I'm too smart. Cut. Lord Wu snorted disdainfully, then go and try it, see if you can get the supreme inheritance. She then explained the rules of the assessment. The target of this assessment was still the stone tablet, but the number had changed from 3 to 1. The method of assessment was to use the luck explosion technique to attack the stone tablet, and the strength of the attack would determine the score. Lin Moyu approached the stone tablet and first detected its luck value. The dazzling red light almost blinded Lin Moyu. The stone tablet's luck was as high as 90, a deep red, very strong. The luck explosion technique calculates the final damage based on the difference between one's own luck and the target's luck. The greater the difference in luck values, the greater the damage. Facing the stone tablet, soul power was almost negligible. This was a dead object. No matter how strong your soul was, it wouldn't be of much use. The main test was the mastery of the luck explosion technique. With such a high luck value, it's hard for an average person's luck to reach 90. If your own luck is not as high as it, the luck explosion technique might not only fail to damage it but could also backfire. You need to use the luck explosion technique to increase your own luck and then weaken its luck to form an effective attack. But my own luck, at most, is 100. The opponent has 90 points of luck. Even if I reduce it by 20 points, the difference is only 30 points. How much damage can that cause? Lin Moyu realized the difficulty of this assessment. The difference in luck values between the two was too small. A difference of 30 points wouldn't cause much damage. Lin Moyu estimated that to get a good score, he needed to create at least a 50-point difference. If he wanted to get the supreme inheritance, the difference had to be even greater. Lin Moyu didn't act immediately but looked at Lord Wu. Lord Wu, what does it take to get the supreme inheritance? Lord Wu didn't hide anything. It's simple, just shatter the stone tablet. Shattering the stone tablet was definitely not easy. Lin Moyu frowned. To shatter the stone tablet, the luck value difference must be at least 80 points, right? Lord Wu said, almost, but I don't know the specifics. Anyway, it's not easy. I know of only 3 people who have shattered the stone tablet, including the old master. 3 people, all with the potential of a heavenly sovereign, who understood the virtual and real worlds. One of them was the illusory mist heavenly sovereign, but Lin Moyu didn't know who the other 2 were. But he was confident that he would be the 4th. Lin Moyu smiled, then I will be the 4th. He let out a light shout, and his soul power fully erupted. He activated the luck explosion technique, and began to rapidly suppress the stone tablet's luck value. The stone tablet's luck value dropped at an astonishing speed, changing from deep red to light red. When the luck value fell below 80, the red suddenly turned into a deep green. Then the green also began to rapidly lighten. Suppressing the target's luck, a trace of karmic force fell on him, gradually forming pressure. As the stone tablet's luck value decreased, the pressure on Lin Moyu increased. Soul power was being consumed rapidly. The speed of consumption was increasing. When the stone tablet's luck value fell below 40, the pressure on Lin Moyu had increased several times. The consumption of soul power also increased threefold. Even with the world tree frantically replenishing, soul power was gradually decreasing. After that, for every point the luck value dropped, the consumption of soul power increased exponentially. When the stone tablet's luck value reached 30, the consumption of soul power was 10 times the normal rate. In this situation, even Lin Moyu was struggling to bear it. Not enough, still a bit short. I must lower it below 20. As long as he could lower the stone tablet's luck value to 20, then explode his own luck to the limit of 100, he could create at least an 80-point difference. Then, using the luck explosion technique, he would have a chance to shatter the stone tablet. The luck value continued to drop. Under Lin Moyu's relentless urging, even the world tree was struggling to keep up. The long-dormant 9-colored dragon soul crystal suddenly let out a dragon roar. It spewed out 9-colored dragon breath, enveloping his soul, transforming into rolling soul power. Lin Moyu's spirit was invigorated. The 9-colored dragon soul crystal had been inactive for so long that he had almost forgotten its existence. With its addition, his soul had new motivation. Lin Moyu pushed harder, continuing to suppress the stone tablet's luck. Lin Moyu didn't know that under normal circumstances, luck suppression was only around 20 to 30 points. What Lin Moyu was attempting, to suppress over 70 points, was extremely difficult. It was precisely because he didn't know that he was fearless and went all out. The luck value decreased bit by bit. Finally, the stone tablet's luck value reached 19, and the light green instantly turned gray. At this moment, the stone tablet was plagued by bad luck, facing the danger of shattering at any moment. For it, shattering was equivalent to death. It's at the limit. Lin Moyu realized he couldn't suppress the luck any further. 19 was the limit. At this moment, the pressure on him was immense, like carrying a galaxy, making it hard to breathe. The immense pressure brought by the law of karma was unimaginable without experiencing it. Luck, explode, Lin Moyu whispered in his heart, and he detonated his own luck. Luck surged rapidly, and clouds and mist flew out from above his head, roaring like a dragon. Lin Moyu didn't dare delay for a second and immediately detonated the stone tablet's luck. The law of karma descended, attacking in a way Lin Moyu couldn't understand. Lin Moyu seized the opportunity, opening his soul's eye to the maximum, trying to see what the law of karma looked like. He seemed to see a layer of illusory mist, which should have been hidden behind the world, suddenly flicker. Without any huge commotion, the stone tablet shattered. The stone tablet shattered into fine powder. The entire process happened in an instant, less than a billionth of a second. Even with Lin Moyu's eyesight, he couldn't see it clearly. Lord Wu watched Lin Moyu being teleported away with an incredulous look. She muttered to herself, "It's over, there really is going to be a new master. A new master is coming. A new master is coming." She repeated the same words over and over, clearly showing her unease. At the foot of the mountain, Saint Sovereign Hao couldn't help but let out a roar. The power of the Saint Sovereign erupted uncontrollably, and for a moment, Saint Sovereign Hao lost his composure. As a result, the entire village seemed to have experienced a terrible storm, with houses almost being blown away. The old ancestors were blown hundreds of meters away by the storm, landing heavily on the ground in a very sorry state. In this world of rules, only a Saint Sovereign could exert some power. Those powerful old ancestors were just ordinary people with slightly stronger bodies. Saint Sovereign Hao's momentary loss of control made them extremely embarrassed. But none of them dared to confront Saint Sovereign Hao, as it would be asking for trouble. The inheritance tower, it's all lit up. That kid is going to get the supreme inheritance. My God, so many of us, for so many years, are not as good as a newcomer. We've all lived in vain. I'm not exaggerating, everyone here, including myself, is a waste. The 10th level of the inheritance tower, a place even Lord Wu, the artifact spirit, could not enter. A space sealed for countless years finally welcomed a new guest. From ancient times to the present, fewer than 5 people have qualified to come here. Lin Moyu carefully examined the space. It wasn't large and could be seen at a glance. A thin layer of mist filled the space, but it didn't obstruct the view. In the center of the space floated an enormous pearl, the very one at the top of the inheritance tower. Seeing it up close was very different from seeing it from a distance outside Cloud Mist Mountain. Lin Moyu's eyes showed a hint of curiosity. This pearl gave him a sense of familiarity. It looked somewhat similar to the pearls of Princess Luotian, Lin Moyu thought to himself. The pearls of Princess Luotian should also be from ancient times. It seems that the strong people of ancient times had a special fondness for pearls. Suddenly, the pearl emitted light, and all the mist in the 10th level space was sucked into the pearl. The entire space became extremely bright and clear. Ancient symbols appeared around the space, and then the space transformed, turning into a starry sky. Countless stars shone brightly, dazzling and splendid. Numerous cultivators shuttled back and forth in the starry sky, each powerful and incredibly fast. Some rode magical treasures, some flew alone, and some shuttled through space. The starry sky before him was far more prosperous than the current starry sky. Each galaxy here had several stars and hundreds of planets. Such galaxies were numerous and astonishingly abundant. This also brought vast resources, enough to cultivate countless cultivators. Lin Moyu's eyes were filled with shock. This is the great world of ancient times, so prosperous. The pearl shone brightly, and a figure walked out of the light. He had a dignified demeanor and well-defined features. Just one look, and Lin Moyu could tell he must have been in a high position for a long time. His gaze swept across the starry sky, seemingly with a sense of nostalgia, and finally fell on Lin Moyu. At that moment, Lin Moyu felt as if he was being seen through. Even the saint sovereigns and supremes he had encountered before had never given him this feeling. Lin Moyu immediately realized that the person before him was a heavenly sovereign. The previous master of the Inheritance Tower, the illusory mist heavenly sovereign. Unexpectedly, the illusory mist heavenly sovereign had left a trace of his soul consciousness here. Lin Moyu immediately saluted. Junior Lin Moyu greets the illusory mist heavenly sovereign. The illusory mist heavenly sovereign smiled. Those who can come here are all smart people. His words implied that he was not surprised Lin Moyu could guess his identity. The illusory mist heavenly sovereign then sighed. Such a starry sky should be gone by now. Lin Moyu's mood also became heavy with his words. The starry sky is still there, but it's not as prosperous. The illusory mist heavenly sovereign sighed. War is always cruel. His words seemed to carry infinite power, and with just a simple sentence, he could evoke emotions in others. Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh, but sometimes, it has to be fought. Yes, it has to be fought. The illusory mist heavenly sovereign turned and asked, how many years have passed since our era? He had been asleep and didn't know the passage of time, only that their era had ended. Lin Moyu calculated, about 2 million years. The illusory mist heavenly sovereign was not surprised. It's been quite a long time, 2 million years. Even without that war, I should have died by now. Lin Moyu was shocked. Can't a heavenly sovereign achieve immortality? The illusory mist heavenly sovereign let out a low laugh. Immortality, how difficult it is. A saint sovereign can live for 100,000 years, a supreme for 200,000 years, and even a heavenly sovereign only for 500,000 years. Lin Moyu was shocked. In your era, a saint sovereign could live for 100,000 years. The illusory mist heavenly sovereign was a bit surprised. Can't the current saint sovereigns live for 100,000 years? Lin Moyu shook his head. No, now they can live at most 50,000 years, and most can't even reach 40,000 years. The illusory mist heavenly sovereign frowned. Let me see. He looked up at the sky, and his aura suddenly became sharp. In the starry sky, it was as if a huge black hole had opened, and a terrifying aura flowed out from the black hole. Lin Moyu's body suddenly felt heavy, almost making him fall to the ground. The purple gold body shone brightly, and the soul world that had just formed into the shape of a rule world was trembling. This power represented supreme and unparalleled might. Lin Moyu barely lifted his head, his gaze penetrating the black hole, seeing the scene on the other side. Great World Runes. Lin Moyu trembled in his heart. He actually saw the Great World Runes in the real world. The power of a heavenly sovereign was so strong that even a trace of soul consciousness could easily open a passage to the Great World Runes. It was imaginable that if the illusory mist heavenly sovereign's true body were here, he might not just look at the Great World Runes but could truly reach the space where the Great World Runes were located. At the moment the black hole opened, the entire rule world shook violently, and an invisible force fell from the sky. The old ancestors who had just stood up were once again pressed to the ground. They lay on the ground, prostrating themselves, extremely embarrassed. Even Saint Sovereign Hao almost fell to the ground, barely managing to stand. What happened? Saint Sovereign Hao was horrified. This power far exceeded his imagination. At this moment, he felt a deep sense of powerlessness, feeling like an ant, extremely insignificant. At the same time, he began to worry about Lin Moyu. Please don't let anything happen to him. It doesn't matter if he doesn't get the inheritance, just come back alive. Saint Sovereign Hao kept muttering in his heart, even regretting bringing Lin Moyu here. On the 7th level of the Inheritance Tower, Lord Wu looked up and murmured, Old Master, it's the Old Master's aura. Old Master, you didn't leave after all. I didn't speak ill of you before, please don't be angry, little Wu is very obedient. Lin Moyu saw the Great World Runes again, and the cracks on the Great World Runes were becoming more severe. Lin Moyu's heart sank as he noticed the worsening condition of the Great World Runes. It hadn't been many years since he last saw them, but the deterioration seemed faster than expected. Lin Moyu felt that Star Elder's worries were overly optimistic. At this rate, the resources of the Great World would deplete faster, leading to conflicts among various races. Fortunately, not many people could see the Great World runes. At least, a Saint Sovereign couldn't see them at will. Even Star Elder couldn't see them. He might have ways to sense them, but he couldn't see them as clearly as the illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign. This provided a time window for the human race to prepare in advance. However, Lin Moyu had a bad premonition. He even wanted to detect the luck value of the Great World runes to see if it was red, green, or gray. The illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign retracted his power after just 2 seconds, and the passage disappeared. The world returned to calm, with only the runes in the Inheritance Tower space still shining. The illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign had consumed a lot of power, appearing somewhat ethereal. After all, he was just a remnant soul, strong in essence but lacking in quantity. The starlight from the runes shone on the remnant soul of the illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign, allowing it to recover. Lin Moyu asked, "Senior, do you have any results?" The illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign sighed heavily, "Our home is destroyed." Lin Moyu's heart sank. The words of the illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign were a very bad answer. Suppressing his unease, he asked, "Is there still a chance for rebirth?" The illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign shook his head. "The hope is slim." "Slim hope means there is still hope." Lin Moyu's eyes lit up. The illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign didn't completely deny it. As long as there was a glimmer of hope, he could try. The illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign said, "A faint hope, almost none." Lin Moyu's tone became resolute. "Please, Senior, tell me how to repair the Great World runes and restore the world's vitality." The illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign's eyes shone brightly, and countless starlights appeared out of thin air, illuminating Lin Moyu. "Do you know how much karma you will bear if you really do this? Your luck is strong, but it may not be enough to bear it. With your talent, you have a chance to ascend the divine path, achieve Heavenly Sovereign, and transcend this great world. You still have time. As long as you reach Heavenly Sovereign, even if this world is destroyed, you will not die. If you choose to repair it, you will be trapped here, living and dying with it. Are you sure you want to do this?" The words of the illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign were as heavy as mountains and seas, pressing down on Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu faced two choices. One was to live and die with the Great World. If successful, the Great World would be repaired without needing rebirth. If he failed, he would perish with the Great World. The second choice was to use his astonishing talent to ascend the divine path, achieve Heavenly Sovereign, and transcend the Great World. Even if the Great World perished, he could still live. With the lifespan of a Heavenly Sovereign, living for hundreds of thousands of years would not be a problem. But for Lin Moyu, he had no choice. He couldn't abandon the Great World, his wife in the sleeping coffin, or his friends and seniors in the Great World. Even if he could transcend, at the moment of the Great World's destruction, these people would all die. Lin Moyu smiled. "Senior, I am sure." The illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign could see Lin Moyu's determination. "Since that is the case, I will tell you how to repair the Great World runes. But before that, I want to know what has happened in the Great World over the years. When I observed the Great World runes earlier, I noticed some problems." Lin Moyu immediately recounted the events that had occurred since ancient times, including the scenes he had seen through the runes. The collapse of the giants, the evolution of the runes into secret realms, and the struggles among various races. He also mentioned how the human race almost perished 100,000 years ago, and how Shao Zhanshan emerged to save the day, ending the near-ancient era. While recounting, Lin Moyu kept an eye on the illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign's expression. The illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign remained calm, perhaps having seen too many major events, so he was used to such things. Even when he saw the severe damage to the Great World runes and knew the world was about to be destroyed, he only sighed. After Lin Moyu finished, the illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign said, "This is karma." His tone was extremely calm. "Back then, we plundered the origins of various worlds, sowing the cause. The near extinction of the human race is the effect." Lin Moyu was shocked. "Isn't the law of karma a law of the Great World? How can it be like this? The laws belong to the Great World, so how can they backfire on themselves?" In Lin Moyu's understanding, karma was directed at the beings within the Great World, and the Great World itself should be above karma. The illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign did not explain. "When you reach Heavenly Sovereign, you will naturally understand. This world is far more complex than you think." Lin Moyu asked, "Senior, is there a way to repair the Great World runes?" Repairing the Great World runes is not easy, but there is a method. though it may not be effective, the illusory mist heavenly sovereign said slowly. Lin Moyu immediately perked up his ears to listen carefully. The method to repair the Great World runes was extremely difficult, and the probability of success was only about 30%. The illusory mist heavenly sovereign not only told Lin Moyu how to repair the Great World runes but also how to achieve heavenly sovereign without relying on the divine path and transcend the Great World. Lin Moyu then realized that it was possible to achieve supreme or even heavenly sovereign without following the divine path. There was another path to choose. However, taking that path meant severing ties with the Great World, strictly speaking, no longer being a part of it. At the same time, it would cause some harm to the Great World. In the past, the Great World could bear it, but now, it would be like rubbing salt into a wound. The illusory mist heavenly sovereign said, "You still have a chance to choose before you reach supreme." Although Lin Moyu had already made his decision, the illusory mist heavenly sovereign still gave him two choices. How to choose was up to Lin Moyu. The illusory mist heavenly sovereign said earnestly, "You still have time, and the Great World still has time. In this era, having an outstanding junior like you is a blessing for the human race. The inheritance has been passed to you. The Cloud Mist sect can be considered to have a successor. Perhaps this inheritance will help you in what you need to do. We have wronged the Great World and countless beings. With this remnant soul, I will do one last thing for this world." A majestic aura rose again, and the starry sky changed, revealing a star map. Lin Moyu was pressed down by the aura of the illusory mist heavenly sovereign, unable to speak or even breathe, just watching. He didn't know what the illusory mist heavenly sovereign was going to do, only that it was something significant. On the star map, countless stars appeared, and Lin Moyu saw that they belonged to various races. Demon race, Golden Eagle race, Bull Demon race, Flying Python race, Black Stone race. All the large and small races were present. The illusory mist heavenly sovereign's aura reached its peak, and he softly shouted, "Explode." The luck explosion technique was suddenly activated, and the illusory mist heavenly sovereign's luck soared. Dragon roars echoed. The illusory mist heavenly sovereign's voice was incredibly deep, "Burn my soul, seize your luck." The misty cloud mountain collapsed, and the entire phantom mist sect inheritance ground collapsed with it. This originally broken rules world began to crumble as the last remnant soul of the Phantom Mist Heavenly Venerable disappeared. The Phantom Mist Heavenly Venerable used all the power he could muster to do one last thing for the human race and this great world. He stripped away part of the fortune from various races and fed it back to the Great World's rune. Although it couldn't repair the Great World's rune, it could at least hold on for a while longer. This extra time was very important for the Great World, for the human race, and for Lin Moyu. When everything disappeared, all that remained in Lin Moyu's hand was that pearl. It was the supreme inheritance of the Phantom Mist sect. Hao Saint Venerable and the other elders were once again pressed to the ground, unable to move. The power of the Phantom Mist Heavenly Venerable swept through the entire rules world, chilling their hearts. It wasn't until the rules world completely collapsed and the power of the Phantom Mist Heavenly Venerable completely disappeared that they came to their senses. At this moment, they had returned to the Great World. The laws returned to their bodies, and the aura of the Great World rushed towards them. Everyone looked at each other. The inheritance ground has collapsed. Young friend Lin should have obtained the supreme inheritance, so the inheritance ground collapsed directly. It should be so, we don't need to try again and again. It's good that he got it. I wonder what exactly is in this supreme inheritance. Who cares what it is, anyway it's not something you or I can obtain. At this time, Hao Saint Venerable's voice sounded in the ears of the elders. You all go back first, remember not to speak of what happened here. Hao Saint Venerable didn't want to keep these shameless old fellows. But these elders didn't leave, instead they shamelessly said, "Saint Venerable, this old one wants to say a few words to young friend Lin." Hao Saint Venerable said impatiently, "There's nothing to say, hurry up and get lost, or I'll take action." Hao Saint Venerable knew exactly what these old fellows wanted to say. They just wanted to trick Lin Moyu back home, then stuff all their hundreds and thousands of granddaughters to him. Hao Saint Venerable wouldn't give them this chance. If anyone was going to do the stuffing, it would be him, not these guys. Under Hao Saint Venerable's stern order to leave, the bunch of old fellows could only reluctantly depart. After chasing away these shameless old men, Hao Saint Venerable looked at Lin Moyu. At this moment, Lin Moyu was looking into the distance, his gaze filled with amazement and contemplation. At the same time, the aura emanating from Lin Moyu shocked Hao Saint Venerable. The aura emanating from Lin Moyu was the aura of the rules world. How is this possible? Hao Saint Venerable found it hard to believe. What he saw and felt was incredibly outrageous, completely defying common sense. Lin Moyu was only a divine venerable, and only at the first level of divine venerable. How could a rules world appear on him? That was something even those in the other shore realm didn't have. Could it be because of the Phantom Mist sect's inheritance? How Saint Venerable couldn't figure it out and could only attribute the reason to the Phantom Mist sect. As an ancient great sect, it wasn't unacceptable for the Phantom Mist sect to have some peculiar things. Now that Lin Moyu had a rules world, what he was looking at became obvious. At this moment, Lin Moyu's gaze was filled with complex emotions. In his vision were broken divine paths. Those were the paths from Saint Venerable to Supreme, where countless Saint Venerables had once stepped onto the divine path and walked to the end to become Supremes. This was also the heavenly path built by the Great World for Saint Venerables. Unfortunately, now the divine paths were broken, so in this era, no one could become a Supreme anymore. The divine paths existed between the virtual and the real, said to be invisible to anyone below Saint Venerable. In fact, it wasn't because of being a Saint Venerable, but because of the rules world. The rules world was an independent world, also having virtual and real aspects. So when the rules world was established, one gained the qualification to see the divine paths. In the Great World, there were 100 divine paths. 99 of them were completely broken, unable to proceed and difficult to reforge. Only the human race's divine path seemed broken but not quite, as if there was still a glimmer of hope. While observing the divine paths, Lin Moyu was also thinking about the method mentioned by the Phantom Mist Heavenly Venerable. That method of not going through divine venerable, transcending the world, and becoming a supreme or even a heavenly venerable had been completely abandoned by him. He let go of everything here and resolutely chose another path. To repair the Great World's ruin, he first needed to reforge the divine path. Only by reforging the divine path and becoming a supreme of the Great World would he have the qualification to approach the Great World's ruin and repair it. This was just the first step, and the first step was incredibly difficult. From ancient times to now, no one had ever achieved it. As for the other things to prepare, they were no simpler than this step. If even the first step couldn't be achieved, everything else would just be empty talk. Lin Moyu sighed, withdrew his gaze, and said to Hao Saint Venerable, Senior, this junior has not failed the mission. As he spoke, Lin Moyu took out that pearl, which contained the supreme inheritance of the Phantom Mist sect. Hao Saint Venerable didn't take the pearl, but said, You look at it first, give it to me when you don't need it anymore. Lin Moyu said, It's fine for Senior to take a look first, see if it's as expected. Hao Saint Venerable didn't stand on ceremony, all right then. He reached out to take the pearl, but his hand passed through it, unable to touch it. Hao Saint Venerable showed a hint of surprise and tried several more times, all with the same result. He used virtual realm laws and even virtual realm rules, but found he still couldn't touch the pearl. The pearl was clearly right in front of him, but it was as if it didn't exist at all. Even when he used storage treasures and expanded his rules world, he couldn't affect the pearl in any way. Lin Moyu suddenly understood something and blurted out, This is a virtual class object. It was the first time Hao Saint Venerable had heard this term, what's a virtual class object? Lin Moyu said, In the inheritance of the Phantom Mist sect, all things in the world, even the entire world, can be divided into virtual and real classes. What we usually come into contact with are real class objects, things we can see and touch. While the inheritance of the Phantom Mist sect belongs to the virtual class inheritance, which can't be seen, touched, or even necessarily felt. Lin Moyu briefly explained the inheritance concept of the Phantom Mist sect, but Hao Saint Venerable clearly couldn't understand. To understand the virtual and real, one needed to change their fundamental cognition. Just hearing about it had no effect. Changing fundamental cognition was extremely difficult, not something ordinary people could do. In ancient times with so many powerful beings, only 3 people in the entire Phantom Mist sect managed to do it. If it was so difficult even back then, it was even more so now. If one couldn't understand the essence of virtual and real, they couldn't truly understand the Phantom Mist sect, let alone obtain its supreme inheritance. This pearl was the best example. No matter what method Hao Saint Venerable used, he couldn't touch it. While Lin Moyu only needed to reach out to easily grasp it. Hao Saint Venerable said with some resignation, It seems this inheritance is not meant for me, but it's enough that you can obtain it. Lin Moyu said, If Senior has any requests, please feel free to ask. Hao Saint Venerable asked, Can you talk about your experience in the Inheritance Tower? What exactly is the inheritance of the Phantom Mist sect? Lin Moyu smiled, Of course, even if Senior didn't ask, this junior would have to tell you. In the battleship, Saint Sovereign Hao brewed another pot of Dao tea. But this time, he didn't use Dao water, as it was rare and not always available to him. Lin Moyu detailed the events that had transpired since he entered Cloud Mist Mountain. Saint Sovereign Hao had received many fragmented inheritances and had learned some of the Cloud Mist sect's techniques. From these, he deduced that the Cloud Mist sect's inheritance was related to luck. To obtain the Cloud Mist sect's inheritance, one must find people with extremely good luck. Those with extremely good luck could smoothly cultivate to the peak of Divine Sovereign or even reach the other shore. Each of them could be revered as ancestors. However, they had never been able to obtain the Cloud Mist sect's inheritance. Now, it was clear that obtaining the inheritance was not just about having good luck. Saint Sovereign Hao whispered, as we suspected, the Cloud Mist sect's inheritance can manipulate luck. But I didn't expect that within the supreme inheritance, there would be a trace of a heavenly sovereign's remnant soul. Recalling the previous suppression that left him immobile, he felt very uncomfortable. But thinking about it now, the other party was a heavenly sovereign. Even if it was just a remnant soul, it was still a heavenly sovereign. There is a significant gap between a saint sovereign and a heavenly sovereign, with a supreme in between. Thinking this way, Saint Sovereign Hao felt more balanced. At least he wasn't too embarrassed, much better than those shameless old guys. Lin Moyu still concealed some information because there were things he couldn't say. He couldn't tell Saint Sovereign Hao that this world had no hope left. Unless he could repair the Great World runes, they could only wait for death. At the same time, he couldn't tell Saint Sovereign Hao that there was another path. Because this path was equivalent to non-existence for all the current Other Shore realm humans. When they achieved the Other Shore, they took a shortcut, severing this path. For them, unless the divine path was reforged one day, they had no hope of achieving supreme. Otherwise, their lifetime limit would be Saint Sovereign. The damage to the Great World runes had a significant impact on the entire world. All cultivators within the Great World had their lifespans reduced. In ancient times, a Saint Sovereign could live for 100,000 years. Now, they could hardly live to 50,000 years. Moreover, resources were difficult to regenerate. Although the world was still expanding, it was meaningless. As the world continued to expand, the world's power became more dispersed, and resources would only deplete faster. Until the Great World expanded to its limit, and resources depleted to their limit, it would eventually collapse completely. The illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign burned his remnant soul to seize the luck of various races, buying some time for the Great World, but it was still limited. Lin Moyu felt that knowing such despairing things himself was enough. There was no need to tell Saint Sovereign Hao and others. Some things are better left unknown. Saint Sovereign Hao said, when you return, you should thoroughly comprehend the Cloud Mist sect's inheritance. Once you have mastered it and your realm has improved, you can proceed with the next task. Lin Moyu asked, what is the next task? Saint Sovereign Hao did not hide it, we need to find some things to see if they can help with the divine path. You know, for many years, we have been trying to repair the divine path. Although we don't know the method, countless experiments have yielded some results. The Saint Sovereigns had been working tirelessly, never giving up. They knew their efforts might not be very useful, but they had to try to be at peace. Lin Moyu wouldn't dampen their confidence. The battleship returned to the Divine City, and Lin Moyu entered his cultivation room. In his soul world, which was also the manifestation of his rule world, a pearl floated before his soul. The supreme inheritance of the Cloud Mist sect was inside. At this moment, a crying sound came from the pearl. Lin Moyu felt helpless. Little Mist, you've been crying all the way, stop crying. Master, let me cry a bit more. A clear voice came from the pearl, accompanied by sobs. Lin Moyu had obtained the supreme inheritance and became the new master of Lord Mist. Thus, Lord Mist became Little Mist. The pearl contained not only the supreme inheritance of the Cloud Mist sect but also messages from the illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign to Little Mist. The illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign explained to Little Mist why she was put to sleep. He explained why she was kept so busy, interacting with many Cloud Mist sect disciples. Little Mist finally understood that the illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign was nurturing her spirituality. Only by constantly interacting and communicating with living beings could her spirituality gradually strengthen. Eventually, Little Mist would have emotions similar to humans, allowing her to think like a human. The process was very slow, possibly taking over 10,000 years. Only with such a foundation could the illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign create a physical body for Little Mist at the right time, turning her into a real person. Unfortunately, the invasion of the Black Blood Great World and the ensuing war prevented the illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign's plan from being realized. To ensure Little Mist's long-term existence and preserve the last hope, the illusory Mist Heavenly Sovereign put her to sleep. Before Little Mist fell asleep, The illusory mist heavenly sovereign also enhanced her luck, strengthening the hope. He even preserved this inheritance land with all his might before the rule world shattered. This was for the Cloud Mist sect, hoping for successors, and also for Little Mist. The illusory mist heavenly sovereign, as Little Mist's old master, had done everything he could, fulfilling his duty. Little Mist slept for 1,000,000 years until Lin Moyu passed through Cloud Mist Mountain and entered the Cloud Mist Hall, awakening her. So she had no idea how many years had passed or what had happened outside. To her, it was just a long sleep. Upon learning the truth, Little Mist cried incessantly. Lin Moyu didn't comfort her. Some things needed to be processed on one's own. After crying enough, she would naturally be fine. Lin Moyu communicated with the Pearl and began to formally accept the supreme inheritance of the Cloud Mist sect. Luck detection technique, luck control technique, luck explosion technique. From basic to advanced to sublimation, the three techniques continuously upgraded, becoming an invincible technique in the same realm. So what would be in the supreme inheritance? A vast amount of information poured into his soul. Even with Lin Moyu's strong soul, he felt overwhelmed for a moment. Lin Moyu felt as if he was being filled with the entire world, with countless profound and complex principles being crammed in. For an ordinary divine sovereign, their soul would likely explode on the spot, either dying or becoming an idiot. Fortunately, the duration was not long. In just a few dozen seconds, all the information was transmitted. Lin Moyu couldn't help but mock himself. Inheritance is dangerous. Accept it with caution. Next was organizing the information. The supreme inheritance of the Cloud Mist sect was not a single technique but endless concepts. These concepts further sublimated the idea of luck, attempting to explain luck and karma in a special way. If he could absorb all of it, he might have a chance to comprehend the law of karma. Comprehending virtual laws is extremely difficult. They are invisible, intangible, and even imperceptible. One can only occasionally touch them through special methods. Compared to the laws of time and space, they are even more challenging. Lin Moyu didn't expect to comprehend the law of karma all at once. He could only take it step by step. As he continued to organize the information and deepen his understanding of luck, he touched upon the second level above luck, fortune.